let's give you the review of Quiet on Set. So I got to see the documentary series of Quiet on Set, the Nickelodeon documentary that talks about Dan Schneider and all the issues that happen while all of these shows, famous shows like All That, Keenan and Kel, Drake and Josh, iCarly, Sam and Cat, and others with these young actors and actresses, being the fact that this documentary first few episodes are like very straightforward, just giving information on how the set was toxic, and not only this being the set toxic, how Dan worked and everything, how these young character actors and actresses were feeling that the workplace was not safe, as well how other people around the set were trying to defend and keep these children, I'm gonna the correct word is to keep them safe or keep them happy on the workplace that they're at. It's sad that they got they had to go through this. Me as well, being a father, me being a father that has been in social media for so long, and yeah, probably I have not gotten the traction or the viral or the viral videos. um I can still say that to this day, if my son does tell me that he wants to do social media, or let it be a TikToker, or let it be what I'm doing right now, reviewing a show or series or movie, or if he wants to be a video game streamer, I will support him. But as well, I will be paying attention to the people that he is surrounded. Why do I say this? So, like I mentioned, the first two episodes are very straightforward, talking about toxicity on the Nickelodeon set, how Dan Snyder how he started and how he became, I would say, the pinnacle and the greatest writer in Nickelodeon history, and how he created all these shows for kids, and how he developed these shows, how he mistreated his staff, and as well how he mistreated these kids as well. The sad part of the story is that besides the fact that we got all of these little, I will say, internal things that happen on set, and how these actors and actresses, being adults, notice now watching their shows or watching shows that of other fellow cast members on from other shows, how they notice that some of these things or some of these innuendos were a, will take an adult joke but in a kids show. So they do explain that some of the scenes that you see, like in Zoe 101, or in when Ariana Grande started her debut on Nickelodeon, as well in iCarly, how some of the scenes, they explain how some of the scenes are more entitled to for adults to laugh at than the kids, because they are adult jokes. From there, episode 3 and 4 is the story of when one of the coaches of the show, or of Nickelodeon, molested one actor in particular. And I did, even though they did show the trailer when the episode was about to aired, and if you didn't see like the first two episodes, you would be like, who's the kid that was behind that happened? And when you see Drake Bell sitting down and telling his story and explaining everything to a maximum detail on everything that happened to him while filming these other shows and in the process of making Drake and Josh, it destroys you inside, because it's like at least for myself, it destroys me inside because all of these shows I got to see them when they were either at their peak or when they were in starting. I remember all that. I remember the intro, like all that. I don't remember it exactly, but I know it was very catchy. I remember Keenan and Kel. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can you take your order? Um, I remember the Amanda Bynes show. I remember that I had a crush on Amanda Bynes when I was a young kid. Um, and I do remember Drake and Josh. That was the only show that I did continue watching. iCarly, Zoe 101. I didn't get to watch. My cousin was the one that used to watch it, but I still watched Zoe 101 with her because, again, I was a young kid. So I had a crush with Jamie Lynn Spears. What can I do? Just in case in context, I was born in 1990, so I think that when Zoe 101 was released, I think I was like 10 years old. I don't remember. But I was like around there at 6 to 10 when these shows were aired. I think that by the time that I could watch Nickelodeon, I think I was, they were giving reruns of all that and Keenan and Kel and the Amanda Bynes show. I think the Amanda Bynes show was the only one that was like doing the actual show run. But Quiet on Set, man, I do gotta say that it's so powerful in so many ways. One of the things that I do, one of the things that I do say that I know that it's out of the control of the production team, but if Dan Schneider would have wanted to, like, I don't know, clear his name or at least have the good gracious to for people to like know his side of the story, just giving quotes to the production team, I think that Dan, I think that it would have been better for you to be part of the documentary and not just give a quote like saying, "Oh, this didn't happen," or "Oh, this didn't happen as well," or "Yes, the events that they're telling are misleading," or whatnot. Because again, you're going against people that worked together, and each one can corroborate their story. And that's something that this documentary brings to fruition. They did bring directors, they did bring writers. I know that there's one, I think she is a costume designer. They didn't, they didn't give out her name, but all of their stories connected on how Dan worked. It's really sad that all of these people had to go through this pain and suffering on set, especially the kids, especially these all of these young actors and actresses that myself of people from my generation we looked up for. And I'm not gonna lie, because even though I can say yes, I had a crush with Amanda Bynes and with Jamie Lynn Spears, but I did love Drake and Josh. Drake and Josh was one of my favorite shows to watch, and I loved Keenan and Kel. I loved them to the end because they were funny. And Nickelodeon was an amazing channel. But at least here in Puerto Rico, when you get cable would bring you, at least for us, with the service that I had, it was Nickelodeon, Boomerang, and Cartoon Network. Disney Channel was a premium channel, so you had to pay to get that channel or to get the bigger package, the channel package. So I only had Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, Boomerang, Fox Kids. I had another channel that was called JetX. So all of these channels were the ones that I would consume as a kid because back in the day we didn't have the internet like they mentioned in the show, or in the series. In the documentary they mentioned, oh, but we didn't have internet. Yeah, so it's true. We didn't have internet. We used to watch a lot of TV. So literally sometimes I would go from school and sit down to watch, let it be Keenan and Kel, let it be Amanda Bynes, let it be whatever show Nickelodeon had aired when I got back from school or in the morning. But Quiet on Set is it's a heartbreaking documentary. So many things that now me as an adult, now me as a father, now me as somebody that can. I think if I do sit down and rewatch these shows, I think that I would feel the same way as these cast members, that we were like, wait, why did they do this? Doesn't make sense. I think that they are uncomfortable, but being the fact that Dan showed so much power over the kids, over the parents as well, and how this incident with Drake, I don't know how his father would feel. And I know that they show like I know that the father gives like a small little glimpse on him not knowing, and then he explains a little bit on how he felt when he discovered it. And when Drake told them about, hey, that you see that they arrested this guy for this, and his father did not know that it was him, the one on the situation. This whole documentary is heartbreaking. I don't have nothing against the cast members and the people that worked around um, these shows, but the people that are mentioned, wow, what was going through your mind? Jesus. And not only that, the fact that the person that they arrested for child abuse, child molestation, and pedophilia, they hired him in a not Nickelodeon, in a Disney show, the Zack and Cody show. How can these networks don't do background checks before they well, I mean, back in those times, why didn't they do a background check on this guy before hiring him? And now I know that nowadays the background checks, well, you have to go. I imagine that you, for each one of any studio that you go to, I imagine that the background check system is long before you get hired. And I imagine that this is specially for kids in kids show. The end of Quiet on Set is like a little interview to each and one of the cast members that were part of the documentary, how they felt, and as well they made questions if Dan did contacted them when the documentary went live. Most of them said that Dan did contact them, like that they could speak good about him, because I think that Dan has this world on his head that's like, oh, even though I was a hard boss, or I'm gonna say it, I'm sorry, this is not gonna be for kids, but an asshole. How these people are gonna still say good things about me is really sad. And they do show interviews that he goes ahead and he explains himself, that the about the documentary, how the documentary miscommunicates how he worked with these people, that even though that he worked hard and treat them good, that there's misinformation in the documentary. The sad part of it is then a lot of people are mentioning the same things over and over and over again. So I really don't know. I do recommend Quiet on Set if you are somebody from the generation of the start of Nickelodeon, like all that, Keenan and Kel, The Amanda Bynes Show, iCarly, and other shows. I would say that, yeah, if you want to know like the internals of what happened in Nickelodeon, I would say the downfall of Nickelodeon in general as well, I would say that this documentary is for you. I'm not gonna lie. It's just a phenomenal documentary, well edited, straightforward to the point, and it tells the story. It tells the story of all of these people. Let it be actors and actresses, let it be staff members, let it be people that are inside journalism. It tells you the whole story of what happened in front of this man, Dan Snyder, and as well how all of this affected as well Nickelodeon. So it's available already in Max, so you guys can check it out. It's a 4-part documentary series. The 5th episode is, like I mentioned, the interviews with people that were part of the documentary. So I do recommend it. It's a phenomenal documentary. If I would rate it as a 5 out of 5. I don't do ratings usually on these videos, but I do gotta say that this documentary is phenomenal. I recommend it 100%, especially if you're somebody that is part of the Nickelodeon start. So so I do recommend it if you are somebody that loved Nickelodeon as much as I did as well when I was a young kid. So don't forget, you guys can follow Reel In Films in all of our social media. As well, go to our website, reelinfilms.com, and leave your comment on what favorite episode of the Nickelodeon series or shows you liked, or what was your favorite Nickelodeon show while growing up. So we will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.